Tell us about a time when you felt supported in your school environment.
The time that I felt supported in school was last year when I had a particular teacher. She knew and understood my struggles and really made an effort to make class as comfortable as possible for me. For example, she knows I really struggle with talking sometimes, so she never did any kind of random selections when she asked questions in class, to benefit not only me, but anyone else that may have felt the way that I did. She would still make sure my answers were heard though, so when she heard me discussing an idea with my partner and she wanted to share it with the class, she did that but without mentioning my name, so it wouldn't draw as much attention to me. She would also recognise when I did something that she knew was challenging for me. For example, sharing my ideas with the group. And she would see me in the corridors after that lesson and stop me and tell me that I was making progress.
There isn't really a time because I didn't properly diagnose yet. Because wherever they've done them, you've got to wait and you get cams out arguing at you saying, "Oh, where's this, where's that," and still waiting for them to send them. And then eventually, when you send them, your mum tells you, "Oh, yeah, here you go, that's what's happening."
When Senko helped me in secondary school.
A time I felt supported in school as an autistic young person is in my biology class. Now, in my biology class, there's a cage which houses rats. And being an autistic young person, I'm really sort of tuned to the smell, each sound, the look of them, and I genuinely have a phobia of them. I get so petrified every time I think of them, and the smell is abhorrent, even though no one else can seem to smell it. But that's my nose and my special ability being autistic. But the teacher said, okay, well, we still want you to learn and have the best experience possible. No matter about external factors, we want you to be able to thrive. So they let me sit outside the classroom, so I wouldn't have to see or smell the rats, and they adjusted the way that they hand sheets to me and the way I can put my phone in the boxes. That's what we do. So that sort of adjustment and individuality has really helped me to learn and thrive in that class.
A time when I feel supported in education is when I transitioned from a mainstream school into a special needs school. I was extremely bad at my reading and writing and doing maths, absolutely terrible. And I found when I transitioned from a mainstream school to a special needs school, the amount of support that I got was a lot better in that sort of setting. I suffer from dyscalculia, and so I have problems with sort of numbers and equations and all of that stuff. And what some of the staff did was they sat down beside me, explained it in simple terms, and then sat for a little longer with me to help me sort of do the maths, compared to a mainstream school in which no one really sat beside me and helped me.
A time that I felt supported at school was when I was in cadets one week and I'd just been promoted to Lance Corporal, and I had to teach these new cadets how to do the kind of basic coming to attention. And these three of them were staring at me, and I froze and I didn't know what to do. And as I was trying to think about what to do, another person came up and said he'd come to help me. And he was very intimidating, even though he was my age. He had a very deep voice and he was just very intimidating. And I started just getting very anxious, and then ended up in front of like half of the cadet force running away, which obviously, because I just didn't know what to think. And then I ran straight to AEN, and the support that I got when I got there, I just felt so understood and so comfortable. And it took me some time to get back, but the people who there really helped me, and I got back, and I was eventually fine. But I just felt so supported because I knew that there were people there for me in times where I was really struggling.
Oh, scribing word being just spelling out because dyslexia plus I can't write properly because it looks like a load of scribbles. And talking where I've sometimes I can't speak out loud and I just blur it sometimes. or I've just been put into a small room.
Tell us about a time where you felt unsupported in your school environment.
When a teacher insulted me for not understanding an objectively easy task, or the time I sought counselling in school for my struggles in friendship instead got listening lessons because people would like me more if I had better listening skills. While I do accept that was something I needed to work on, I was being made to feel guilty for my autistic traits.
A time I have felt unsupported to learn and thrive as an autistic young person in school is when, as an autistic young person, I need many, many explanations for things, especially when someone says, all right, do this, finish this work. Well, it's very vague and I sometimes do not understand. I've got better at that though. But I tend to ask a lot of questions, and this teacher clearly didn't like that. So because I asked the question at an inappropriate time, he sent me out the classroom and said he didn't want to see my face. And as a young person with autism, I have to ask questions. I have to have a holistic view to things, just so I know what's actually happening, rather than going down a straight line. I take a longer path. That's why. But this teacher clearly didn't respect that and didn't respect additional needs, and decided to shove me out of the classroom because I didn't understand everything he was saying. And I think this represents a problem, that teachers may think that this young person is not listening or not trying, and then actually all they need is a bit of help to thrive.
A time that I haven't felt so supported in school, however, is during focus days. At my school, focus days are scheduled days in the school year in which we're taught the compulsory PSHE content, such as skills that will be needed in the future. Now, I always leave focus days feeling really alone, and they always have a negative impact on my self-esteem because most of the sessions are only aimed at neurotypical individuals. For example, we've had sessions in the past to do with how to prepare for a job interview and the responsibilities and expectations that we have as an adult, when in reality, a low percentage of autistic people actually feel able to work a job. And for those of us that do feel able to work, interviewers would have to take into account the fact that we're autistic and the fact that we may stim and we may not make what is seen as appropriate eye contact, which my school teaches us that needs to be changed in order for us to actually be accepted into society, so that we can get a job and make money in order to survive, which is really isolating for us.
I got moved down sets from top set to bottom set because apparently I must have a TA even though I don't, because other people in that classroom have also got other issues, other SEND issues. And I'm just there, just doing it by myself because I'd rather get on with it than just keep asking TA even though they've got their own students to deal with. And then you got the Sanko, who I literally stick with because I'd rather not go and socialise with other people and just stay there because it's a small, tiny room with a small amount of people than just a big group of people. Even though it's a small school, you still got to deal with people.
I found that when I was in mainstream, the support was very, very little. I would find that the teachers paid more attention to the more abled students instead of me, and I guess that made me feel pretty useless because I simply didn't understand. And I got picked on a lot, and the teachers wouldn't do anything about it. They would just sit there and fiddle their thumbs. When they said that they would do something, they didn't. And so I found it was more of a lack of responsibility for my health and well-being. That was the main issue.
A time that I felt unsupported at school was when I had made a mistake, and there were very severe repercussions, which was very difficult for me because I didn't realise what I had done wrong. But when my Senko and my head of year were speaking to me, they were being very blunt and kind of rude, and it kind of felt like I was being attacked and no one was there to support me. And I was also going through a family trauma of 2 deaths, which was very difficult for me at the same time. So I was a bit everywhere, and I just felt so unsupported at school that no one was there for me at all, and it was really, really difficult for me.
English in my old primary school telling me I'll get over it.
I've got exam arrangements during exams. They've given me a computer because of my dyslexia, because I can't, where my handwriting is just bubble. They can't read it and it can't be processed during exams. But where I've got dyslexia, of course, I can't type it, read it, and then keep on typing. I've got to keep looking it up and down. It makes it even longer. At that point, I just think, F it and chuck it off and just keep writing.
What advice would you give schools to help support young autistic people in education?
Just get to know this autistic person, what their special interest is, so you know how to, if they go into an autistic outburst or meltdown, you can bring it out of that and bring it into that calming environment which they know and love. And if they need, you can then understand that person even further by either arranging things with them, what make them calm and don't have autistic outbursts. What they can and can't do sometimes, if they have sensory disorder.
There are many ways I feel more supportive. Some of these are as simple as being more patient and understanding with me when I'm struggling in work.
Something that I believe would help improve the experiences of autistic young people in education would be that if all members of staff who get a job in a school, that's teachers, caretakers, people in admin, finance, just anyone before joining a school in Kent or England even, would have to go through compulsory training or some form of way that they can have the knowledge to see if they see someone struggling with their mental health, and even if it's wider than autism, but specifically if someone is struggling, that they know what to do to help.
I would say that in order to help improve the experiences of autistic young people in education, it would help if the teachers were more educated on autism and how it presents in the classroom. This way, no matter if a student is known to be autistic or not, teachers are more likely to figure out a reason for their behaviour and not be inconsiderate and tell them off for it, which will save them from possible mental health complications in the future. I would also advise teachers to communicate with diagnosed or suspected autistic students. Whether it be verbally or written down, I would suggest that it's written down, as most of us prefer that. How did they feel about certain things? After all, there isn't just one thing that could be done which could improve every single autistic student's experience. Absolutely everyone will be different, as autism is a spectrum.
I think educating staff on autism and many ways it can affect or show in individuals is one step towards creating a healthier and safer environment for autistic young people.
The advice that I would give to schools and teachers is just to listen to us and to be a little more responsible with how we feel. Yeah, basically just to listen and to see how you can try and improve our education. It won't be easy. We're going to get overwhelmed and stressed in so many situations. And sometimes it will be hard for us to open up about that.
Be prepared for difficult times and try and stay positive.
I think there's so much stuff that I like to say to teachers and young people, but in a nutshell, understand and respect everybody, because everybody has nuances, everybody has differences, but these differences are what make individuality and humanity so good. Diversity is the one greatest thing in humanity. And young people with autism are some of the nicest young people and ever, really. And I think giving young people extra time to process things, giving young people, for example, in the lunch hall, a bit of space, especially when it's crowded or there's many smells, understanding what they might be going through, as in a tsunami, could be really, really helpful. And just trying to ask, hey, are you okay? Opening a conversation like that, or how's your day been? Just trying to be friendly and understand could make the world of difference.